Well, we start with an oak log and cleave that in two, and then cleave the two halves into quarters and into eighths. And if the tree is big enough in diameter initially, then we'll go down into sixteenths.
We're in the process of converting one of the pieces of oak tree trunk that was split off into, I think this was a quarter, could have been an eighth, converting it into a plank. The particular plank it's going to be is called a garboard. This is the plank that goes right next to the keel, is attached to the keel. I'm reducing this section of the log, which was taken from the original trunk by splitting the trunk, to what's going to be initially about 2 inches thick.
Right, at the moment we're taking this garboard down to the lines here. At the side we've had a pattern put on, and the pattern's been marked round. So now it's just a case of taking the sides down to the depth, and then once we've got it down to the depth, I'll put it up on its side, and then we'll take it down to about 1.5 inches, 1/16. And that should give us a good idea about what we're expecting, and then we'll offer it up to the hull and see what tweaking it needs.
So we got very little evidence of what they built and how they built them. So a lot of our understanding comes from the later Viking period. And it's believed that they built their boats entirely by eye and by the experience of the shipwright. So the shipwright had started to nipper at his grandfather's knee and gain his experience, till he became a master shipwright. And knowing, with that experience, he would then know what worked or what didn't work in terms of building the qualities that he wanted in the ship. Because we wanted to not just build a ship, but we wanted to replicate the ship that went into the ground at Sutton, we eventually took the decision that we needed something to guarantee us a bit more accuracy than that in the build. So we decided to use these black painted wooden moulds.
Yeah, basically these are called station moulds, and basically they're just forming the shape of the boat. So the planks can then be bent round those to give the actual shape of the boat, and then at the end they'll all get lifted out, and the frames will all be made and fitted in the boat. No, probably not. They probably would have just built the backbone, and then they would have started to fit frames to the boat. They might not have fitted the full frames, but they would have fitted maybe the bottom sections of the frames and floors, and then they would have used that to then bend the planks round. This is basically, this section here is called a rabbet, and if you imagine a plank would sit tight up against here, and then there would be iron nails that actually go through the plank and through this section, and then there'll be a diamond-shaped rove on the inside, and that would then get roved and to hold that all together. And obviously there'd be some corking in there to make it watertight. But this angle here, this governs the shape of the boat basically. So depending on whatever angle you put on that, yeah, it basically governs the shape. So as this rabbet travels up towards the bow of the boat, this angle, what we call a winding bevel, it'll actually start to twist round as it gets further up to the bow. Yes, this is quite clever, really. They used to hollow this section out so that when you went and put your nail through, your iron fastening through the plank on the outside here, your rove would be parallel to the outside of the plank, so that you get a really good really good fixing, and that keeps it all tight. Because if this was kept at this angle, your rove would be at a funny jaunty angle, and you wouldn't get so much purchase and so much strength in the nail itself. Normally they all line up with these water lines.
Just stretch that across there.
Yeah.
That one's more or less right.
Because when we sat this in here, we had a 50mm discrepancy, which would account for that. That's the shear line.
Yeah.
As we thought that was the shear line.
So that's about right then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we're in the stern of the ship, so I'm sitting on the port side, or the port aft quarter, and this is the stern post coming up to the apex above us. We're creating a groove, or a rebate, or a rabbet in Shipwright's parlance, to take the base of the first plank, which comes into contact with the keel structure, is known as the garboard. So at this level, we'll actually be on plank number 2. The garboard will have tapered in to the structure below us, and this area which we're working on at the moment is basically to receive a 1-inch thick plank that sits in the groove or in the rabbet, flush with the keel, and set on a carefully calculated angle, which is also being cut in so that it comes up on the planned trajectory to meet the third plank effectively, which will be up here.
Earlier on, when we first started working on this piece of wood, it was green, it was damp inside once the surface layer had been taken off. But now it's fairly dry all the way through, and it makes it much more difficult to work. I can show you. And it doesn't leave a nice surface like it used to when it was wet. Now that place there that I've just uncovered is a piece of damp wood, look, and it cuts it very much easier. No problem.
Yeah, this is a section of the midships that we practice on, doing different techniques and training the students. And we're just showing Dave how to rove up a plank at the moment, and we're just trying out these new latest batch of nails and roves from Alex Pole.
This is one of the ship's rivets and roves. It will eventually be part of the ship, and we're offering people a unique opportunity to sponsor one of these for £20, and in return we will send you a certificate telling you exactly where your rivet is. You can see on the backdrop behind me that each one is individually marked and individually numbered, and we'll also send you one of our sponsor pins so that you can display that to show that you are actually part of this project.
If you volunteer, you're going to be welcomed, you're going to be encouraged, you're going to be taught, and you're going to be valued. And I think that's it in a nutshell.